and welcome to the KC and PC Fantasy Football Podcast. We are heading into week number 7, and things are pretty lit around here, as the kids would say, if that is indeed the correct usage of the word lit. Who knows? I'm too old. But we're getting things cranked up. We're about to be over halfway through the regular season, so things are rolling. Hey, PC, how's it going for you today, man? You're kind of looking a little tired, my friend.
Hey man, back off. My dog, Hummus, ran away last night. That cute pooch is my life. So we had to put posters up all over the neighborhood. Then, at 3 a.m, some teen calls my cell, says he has Hummus, but wants a reward. Here's an idea instead. How about you just be a human bro, and return my dog? Eventually we settle on a price and meet up. Turns out the dog he found isn't Hummus, but he still wants a few bucks for his trouble, and I'm like, WTF? So I get home and am about to go back to sleep when I hear this light snoring coming from beneath the bed. And there he is, Hummus. I was overjoyed. We must have forgot to check that spot when we were looking for him. So yeah, my emotional battery is drained.
Whoa, easy. No need to get defensive. Actually, there is, because today we're talking about defense.
What? Huh? So that was all set up for this week's topic? I just poured my heart out, you jerk.
Here's the quandary, alright? Do you stick with the same D every week, or do you change it up? For me, I like to have 2 defenses, hopefully in different divisions. You know, if one is firing on all cylinders and putting up points, I stick with them. Unless, of course, the other has a matchup that's just way too juicy to pass up.
I'm a strong believer in scouring the waiver wire for the best matchups. If a team is playing the Cardinals, I'm claiming them. No questions asked.
It's also a matter of the home run versus consistency. I feel like matchup hunting can provide a steady stream of 6+ points, but if you remain loyal to 1 or 2 defenses, you're going to start them on the one week that they decide to put up 25. Of course, then on the flip side of that, you may start them on the week that they post -5 too.
After multiple weeks, if I have a top 5 defense that's sacking QBs and taking names, I might decide to just go the one defense route. What's great about that is that it opens up an extra roster spot for another position. It's a nice little bonus, as long as my lone defense continues to rack up good weeks.
So there you go, defense and hummus.
I'm still mad at you.
I just wanted to pause for a moment and thank one of our sponsors, the Maybank Mirthnasium. Located in a lake house around Cedar Creek Reservoir and owned by Ha Ha Clinton Dix, this pop-up comedy club will be open for one night only in late August 2019. And the Maybank Mirthnasium is proud to announce that they finally landed their headliner. Is it Dave Chappelle? Pfft. Jerry Seinfeld? Please. Amy Schumer? She wishes. It's world-renowned Laughmeister Harrison Hearn. So get your tickets ASAP, bring your best LOLs, and prepare to get your funny bone tickled in weirdly inappropriate ways. Welcome back to the KC and PC Fantasy Football Podcast. It is guest time. I want you to please welcome to the KC and PC Fantasy Football Podcast a man who is a living example that no one is perfect. Kyle Littleman. Kyle, how's it going there?
Great. Nice to be on the show. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. All right. So, Kyle, we have a few questions for you here that deal with Gangster for Life League as well as the NFL, and we're just going to get going here.
Bring them.
So the first question I have here is, who is the one player you'd want to have on your team for the next 5 years? Maybe it's some young buck, maybe it's an old guy, but it doesn't matter. Who are you going with for 5 years?
Well, for the next 5 years, I think I'd have to go with Saquon Barkley. I think he got drafted high for a reason, really good runner, and they're just going to wear him out for the next 5 years where he may not have a good contract after that, but for these first 5 years, he'll be really, really good.
For sure. You were a noted sweeper of soccer back in the day. Definitely played some, as the Europeans call it, football. So, if you were an NFL kicker, what would your make percentage be from 30 to 40 yards, do you think? Just kicking those extra points.
Yeah, so a few people know this, but I was actually a kicker in 7th and 8th grade football as well.
Bussy Middle School?
That's right, shout out Let's. And I'm a high school coach now, and coach basketball, though, not football. Stay away from football, way too hot in Texas. But like the spring game 2 years ago, afterwards I got out there and I hit a 50-yarder. Now, it was wind-aided, no doubt, but it was still 50 yards. So I'm saying 30 to 40 yards, I'd make a good 75% of them,
I like
maybe.
it. There's some confidence there. All right. Here's a bit of trivia for you now. It's a little tricky. Can you name the last 8 Super Bowl matchups? So you can start with the most recent, which would probably be easiest. So 2018, who was in it?
I can't even remember 2018. I'll be real honest with you guys. The important thing is that the Cowboys have not been in any of those Super Bowls, which is really what matters. And I'm really drawing a blank on who even won the Super Bowl. Was it the Patriots last year?
They were in it. Who did they lose it against in the NFC East?
Oh, the Eagles with Nick Foles.
Okay, and then 2017, who did we have?
Would have been the Patriots' revenge on the NFL because they tried to suspend Tom Brady.
Who were they beating in that matchup? Do you remember? Who gave up a terrible lead? Crazy high lead.
Oh, yeah, I remember that game, but I don't remember the team.
Falcons.
Oh, the Falcons. Matt Ryan's MVP season.
Yep. And who, any idea in 2016 then? It was a couple teams who hadn't been in it. One team who hadn't been in it for a couple years there.
Were the Packers in it?
Packers were 2011 versus Pittsburgh. 2016 was Peyton Manning's swan song against...
Manning won.
Manning
went
won
out on top drinking Budweiser, if I recall.
Indeed. Against who? Any idea? Remember?
That would have had to have been... Nope, no idea, Kevin. No idea.
Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton's first time.
They were a bust the next year.
Yeah, and then we got New England versus Seattle, Seattle, Denver, Baltimore, San Francisco, New York, New England. So a bunch of good matchups there.
But not the Cowboys.
The Cowboys were never in it. It's been basically since our births that the Cowboys have been in it. So next question, how do you live with yourself?
It's a good question. Very easily, actually.
Wow, all right.
Wake up every day, about 5 o'clock. Go mold young minds for about an hour every day. And then just play basketball. It's pretty much a dream.
It's a good gig.
It's a good gig.
Good gig if you can get it. Okay. Predictions for the Cowboys this year. Do you think they're going to the playoffs? What do you think their record is going to be? Any ideas?
I was very high on the Cowboys. I was thinking 11 or 12 wins. And then we got this news about our starting center this week. Very sad. And if he doesn't play, I could easily see an 8-8 season and Jason Garrett being fired.
Ooh.
And sadly, I think that might be the case.
If Garrett gets fired, do you think that's happening after the season, or do you think they start off so poorly that they get rid of him before the season's over?
If they start off poorly, I think they'll get rid of him. If it's one of those things where they're just kind of mediocre all year, I think they'll just wait till the end. Okay. Because Garrett seems to be Jones's boy for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's a very strange reason.
It is.
Okay, and let's see here. Last and final question. So how do you deal with multi-week injuries and suspensions? If someone's, going to be suspended for a few weeks before the start of the season, are you going to draft them? Are you really going to bump them down? What's the strategy there for you?
My strategy there is I usually don't draft them unless it's a steal. Like in 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds later. Just because I feel like the fantasy seasons are so short. If you're drafting someone in the first or second round and you're then missing your first or second round pick for 3 to 6 weeks, you could be in such a hole you can't dig out of it by the time they're back performing from drugs or injuries or whatever it may be.
For sure. All right, well, that was Kyle Littleman here. Hopefully he's doing well this season. Hopefully he hasn't beaten me or isn't going to beat me. And we wish him the best of luck. Thanks for coming on, Kyle.
Oh, anytime, anytime.
Welcome back to the KC and PC Fantasy Football Podcast. So this segment, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to go for some rankings. And, I'm watching a lot of football on TV these days, and a lot of the times you see fans holding up signs. Some of them can make you chuckle, some of them make you cringe. So I just wanted to give the best 4 and worst 4 fan signs. So we're going to start with the worst 4. And confusingly, we'll go from least worst to worst, if that makes any sense, which it probably doesn't. So the least worst of the 4 is giant heads of players. You see this a lot. It's at football games, but a lot of the times it's at basketball games too. And it was pretty fun at first, just giant head of a player who's out there on the field, but it's kind of been overdone now, and there really isn't even a message associated with it. So it's just kind of a dude staring at you from 50 yards away. It's kind of creepy, but so that's number 4. Number 3, something along the lines of, "Marry me, Tom Brady." I mean, what kind of person proposes to a complete stranger? You don't know their beliefs, their values, their goals, or even their personality. Maybe start by asking if they want to go out for a cup of coffee or something. It's just, start small, right? Okay, number 2 on the worst signs. "You're in Steelers country." Okay, this is one of the most annoying signs to me, because the purpose of fan signs isn't to be a mall directory and remind people of where I am. Do I yell, "You're in my guest bathroom going number 2" when you visit me? No, I don't. That would be rude and very strange. And then number 1, the worst of the worst fan signs, is just the simple "Go team." That's just so generic. Do you even know which team you're cheering for? It's just bad. And then we're going to go on to the best 4 fan signs, and we'll, confusingly again, start with the least best and go to the best. So number 4 is a sign that reads, "I just hope both teams have fun." This is only for the most indifferent of fans, and it's also something I could really see my mom holding up at a game. It's very positive, very, very positive sign for the players out on the field. And the number 3 on the best fan signs is, "The guy behind me can't see." That's brilliant. Comedy is often found in the truth, and this plain, simple statement, it works. It works really well. Number 2 of the best fan signs is John 3:16. There's some guy holding up the Bible's most famous verse in the stands, right? And it's also the laziest form of Christian discipleship that I know of, but it gets the point across, right? And then number 1, the best fan sign that I can think of, it's the GOAT. It's a classic. It is the defense sign. So you got to have a partner to do this one. One guy's holding up a D, the letter D in the alphabet, and one guy's holding up a picket fence, part of a picket fence. But, one letter, some wooden boards, it's just genius. Simply genius.